One of the thrills for me when I host these evenings is to see the range of projects that our students can take on. These are all the same students, right? Same program. We just heard a presentation on impact investing and the role of pension funds. Next, we're going to hear a presentation about waste management. I just want to make the point that our students have the basic tools and skills and knowledge to deal with a variety of sustainability issues, which I think is the defining characteristic of our graduates. Sustainability work is varied, and over a career, sustainability managers deal with a whole variety of problems, so they need to be prepared to deal with all of them, and many new ones that we have yet to anticipate. So with that, I will turn it over to Stacy, who will talk to us about waste management in Mamaroneck. The faculty advisor for this project was Professor Susanne DesRoches. Stacy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stacy Kotorac, and I will be presenting for my capstone group that developed a near-zero solid waste strategy for the town of Mamaroneck, New York. This semester, we worked with the town of Mamaroneck, located in Westchester County, to create a near-zero solid waste strategy. The town wanted us to work on this because of their desire to effect positive change for their residents and to engage the community on creating more sustainable behavior. They were also interested in reducing the financial costs associated with waste management for residents, businesses, and the town itself. The town is also in the progress of creating their own sustainability plan, and this topic became an area of interest for them because of their belief in the potential impact, wide-scale impact, as well as their belief in the potential payback of this program. One of the interesting challenges of this project was that from the very start, Mamaroneck already had a very high recycling rate. As you can see here, their recycling rate was 63%, which is almost double the national average. They ranked eighth out of the 46 municipalities in Westchester County and had a goal of being the very top. Our goal and our definition of near zero solid waste for the town of Mamaroneck was to achieve a 90% reduction from the waste stream. This was based on international best practices and also recognized control challenges for the town, such as limitations on what came in and out of the town's boundaries and the type of packaging that it came in. Our focus, particularly in the second half of the semester, was on discarded waste, which is 37% of Mamaroneck's waste stream and is seen in orange here. This was the area of opportunity for our project. Our goal was to reduce the 37% to 10%, which would thereby reduce their discarded waste by 90%. We focused on the areas that constituted the biggest portion of the waste stream and had the biggest potential impact in their waste system. The methodology that we focused started with data collection. We first sought to understand Mamaroneck and their waste system, as well as national and international best practices related to waste management. We conducted 25 interviews, some with Westchester County towns, including Mount Pleasant, Newcastle, and Rybrook, and some all over the country and even internationally, such as South Hode, New York, and Carrboro, North Carolina. We formulated 9 case studies in this process, and the interviews supplemented publicly available information so that we could really get to the weeds of what was going on in these systems and what we wanted to implement in Mamaroneck. Once we had our longer list of recommendations that the town could implement, we did a financial, waste, and policy impact assessment of all of our recommendations. We then supplemented this with a cost-benefit analysis that looked at net revenue over a 5-year period. We then pulled together all of our findings, looking at the potential impact of each recommendation, and narrowed it down to 4 areas of recommendation that had the highest impact with lowest potential cost for the town, and all the while kept an eye on that 90% and how close we were to that goal. The first recommendation, which has the lowest potential time for implementation for the town, is textile recycling. This recommendation would entail the town placing 2 bins two types of bins throughout the town. The first is textile collection bin that could be run by an organization called Wearable Collections. Textiles that are deposited in these bins will be sorted so that usable clothing and textiles will be donated, and non-usable textiles will subsequently be recycled. A second type of bin is our carpet bins, and these will then also be recycled and put to other purposes, such as insulation. This recommendation will have a total impact on the waste stream of about 1%, bringing us to a total of 64%, which you can see on our tracker on the side of the slide, and will have a cost savings of $143,000 for the town over 5 years. The next area that we recommend the town works on is food waste. The group has developed 3 parallel recommendations for this waste category. The first is backyard composting, where the town will purchase bins for residents to compost in their backyards. The second is residential drop-off program, where the town will again provide residents with bins, although smaller bins, where they will collect their food waste and bring it to drop-off locations that the town will designate, such as farmers markets. The waste and compost that's collected at these drop-off locations will be collected by another outside organization, such as Suburban Carting, which is an organization that works throughout Westchester County, and will be processed outside of the town's boundaries. The third recommendation to work on the food waste category is enhancing recycling separation and food waste collection in schools. There is an organization called We Future Cycle that is already implementing programs such as this throughout Westchester County, and we've been working with them to create this program for Mamaroneck. This will have an overall impact altogether of about 2% on the waste stream, bringing our total to 66%, with a financial cost of about $310,000 for the town, again over 5 years. We estimate that about half of the town's discarded waste is constituted of waste that is already covered under existing recycling programs that the town already has in place. This third recommendation aims to reduce the amount of these materials, which are paper, paperboard, plastic, glass, and bulk metal, that are already addressed under existing recycling programs. Again, there are 3 parallel recommendations that we developed for the town. The first is to enhance recycling in multifamily residences. This would be done by the town purchasing bins to ensure that every multifamily residence has a recycling bin for the residents to use, and also providing all these residents with tote bags that they can use to haul their recyclables from their apartment to the recycling center in their building. The third is an OOP sticker, which is also seen on the slide here. This will be used by the garbage collectors within the town of Mamaroneck and will be applied to any bag of trash that is picked up that is not properly sorted and may have recyclables in it. This bag will not be picked up in that week, and will teach residents gradually to enhance the separation of their solid waste and recyclables. The third is to engage more and have a deeper communication strategy with the town. This will be through enhancing their social media presence, and we have also developed a recycling guide for residents that will help them make more sustainable disposal choices, even outside of the recommendations and programs that we're implementing for Mamaroneck. This will have a total impact of about 3% on their waste stream, bringing our total to 69%, with a financial savings of $41,000 for the town. Our final recommendation is likely to take a little bit more time to implement, and is the reason why it's our 4th and final recommendation for the town to do. This is switching their waste system to a pay-as-you-throw system, which is a shift in how the residents pay for their solid waste disposal. Rather than it being embedded in their tax bill, residents will pay for it on a volume basis based on the number of bags they are throwing out. Therefore, if they produce less waste and generate fewer bags of garbage, they are paying less for their own waste disposal. We are recommending that the town goes with a volume-based system instead of a weight-based system, based on our analysis and research that we did that showed that the relative gains are far lower than the cost to implement these programs, and this makes it much more realistic for the town. This is expected to have a total impact on their waste stream of 6%, bringing our total to 75%, with cost savings of about $4 million for the town. As you can see, we have not yet hit 90% and have a gap of about 15%. We also have a net savings estimated for the town, or total revenue, of $3.9 million. To close this gap, we have 3 other recommendations that the town should look into. The first is conducting a waste audit, which will give the town a better understanding of the quantity of waste in each waste category. Secondly, we used a modest participation rate that we obtained through our case studies and research in all of the recommendations. However, if there was a higher participation rate that came through the town working closely with their residents, then the overall impact of each recommendation would go up, as would the total amount of waste that they were reducing. And lastly, the third option is moving to a single stream system. This is challenging because it depends on changes at the county level or the town privatizing their waste stream, but it's something that they could look into over the longer term. In implementing the program, we recommend the iterative process that is shown on the slide here. First, the town should conduct a waste audit so that they understand what their waste stream is and use this to develop the program, also engaging with residents as they develop that program. They will then implement it and educate the residents on the program. And lastly, they will evaluate their impact that these recommendations and programs have had, incorporating findings from the waste audit and modify the program as needed from there. We've broken down the implementation over a 2-year time horizon based on the town's desire to have all of their programs for their near zero solid waste strategy up and running by 2018. The order that we have taken is staggered based on the overall waste impact and costs of the program. We did this also so that the programs would be in place before the pay-as-you-throw system was implemented. This would allow residents to have a little bit more control over the total waste that they were producing and reduce it before they were responsible for paying for it. And lastly, we're recommending that the town hire someone to help implement all of these programs and hopefully have an overall higher impact on reducing their solid waste. The town is really excited about everything that we've done, and we feel we've given them a really strong foundation to move forward with managing their solid waste in a more sustainable way. This semester alone, they've been applying for grants and moving forward on implementing things on their own accord, and we're really excited to see what they do in the year ahead. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions you have.
Great presentation. From your research, how have is this working? Mm-hmm. Oh. So the pay-as-you-throw system, how have residents of these municipalities responded to that kind of program?
So the savings through this program apply both at the town level and also are possible for residences. So for people in the community that are more sustainable and produce less waste, there's a chance for substantial cost savings through this program, or relatively substantial cost savings when you look at the portion of their tax bill that's attributed to solid waste management. So that portion, if you're producing less waste, typically reduces under a pay-as-you-throw system, and that's the way that we have suggested for Mamaroneck to design the system. So it requires a bit of behavior change, but it's typically which makes it maybe a tricky couple months, but once you get over that transition, residents are pretty receptive to it.
For your numbers in regards to how much you're saving the city, are you also accounting for the costs associated for the nonprofits that are going to be, running those programs? For example, your first project in the textile recycle. In your number, does that have the costs associated with hiring more people for that nonprofit and, things like that?
So the financial analysis we did really focused on the town and what was going to be within the town's boundaries. So in that regard, the nonprofit wearable collections is actually not within the town's boundaries. So the cost savings and the cost factors that we looked at were primarily the cost of the tipping fee of the garbage, of the trash that the town was producing. So they pay the county for all of the trash that is collected that goes from the town to the county level. So wearable collections actually benefits from there being more programs in place because that's how their model is set up. So by giving them more products to work with, that's how their system is oriented. So there's actually no connection between in the cost savings there.
I have two questions. One is, what is Mamaroneck doing right now in terms of sustainability? And also, are there examples of pay-as-you-throw that have been successful elsewhere?
Yeah, so we're really at the start right now of Mamaroneck's sustainability plan. They were actually finalizing the text this semester while we were working on the project. So this is going to be the first really big program that they've implemented. They've done a bit with lighting within some of the public buildings, but they haven't implemented a wide-scale program that's tied to the sustainability plan yet. And for your second question, yes, there are lots of examples of pay-as-you-throw being very successfully implemented throughout the U.S. One of the best examples is Southold, New York. And their diversion rate went up to over 80% from switching to a pay-as-you-throw system. It's tricky because they also had a single stream system implemented, so all recyclables could be put in one bin, which gives them greater control over their recyclables and bigger, and it makes it easier for residents to do this. But we're hoping that we factored all this into the analysis that we did, and we're hoping that over time Mamaroneck can get to a rate that's about that high as well.